Well, today's January 19th, my little brother's birthday. Happy birthday, Daryl. It turned out to be a nice day today. It cooled off. It's a little chillier. About 37 to 36 degrees, something like that. It's not freezing, but it's chillier than what it has been. We've had just 3 weeks of just flat out nasty weather with pouring down rain and high winds. We're getting hit with one storm right after another. Last one was yesterday. Last night it was blowing again 20 miles an hour with gusts of 30 or so. Not quite as bad as what it had been in the past, but still not a very nice day. I think we got about 3 inches of rain yesterday, 2.5 or 3 inches of rain yesterday. But it cleared off this morning, and we've actually had a little bit of sunshine. Forecast is for showers, possibly snow showers now. I hope that doesn't happen, but we'll see. Well, anyway, I'm going to work on this today. I get a fire going in the stove. It's the first time I've had a fire going in the stove in about a week, but it's been warm enough out here I didn't really need it. But it's cooled off now, and I'm not going to be in here in the shop today too much, but I need to get the dampness out of here, so I'm getting a fire going. So the last 2 or 3 days have pretty much been lost. I've spent all the time looking for the parts for these new bearings for this mill. It's not easy to do because these part numbers here that are on these bearings don't exactly cross-reference to anything new. Now this is a link belt Y220 or 2220. I couldn't find a direct cross-link for it, so I had to do measurements on this, and hopefully finally I found the right inserts on this. You can just get inserts in here and replace it, or replace the whole thing. But anyway, I probably could have ordered the bearings from the company. I don't know whether they would have them or not. The company hasn't been really in business for a few years now, and I know they've got a lot of parts and stuff in inventory, but I don't know whether they'd have everything or not. But these bearings, list price for these is probably about $400 a piece, and I can get them for anywhere from $20 up to $60, looking at them on eBay for surplus ones. Now, the book specifically states that these two main bearings, these are the two main, well, that one's not, this one is, and this one is, these are the two main shaft bearings for the main drive shaft. It definitely states in the book that these are not interchangeable, that they're two different, they're the same bearing, but they've been modified somehow for that shaft in the different positions. But I've measured these every way I can, and I can find absolutely no difference in these whatsoever. They're both identical. Measuring inside diameters here and the whole works. And anyway, so I've got new bearings coming for these. We've got new bearings coming for everything. I've got the one bearing up at the basement. I've got to put it on the lathe, or I've got to make a press for it on the lathe so I can press the bearing out of the race that's in it, and I think I've got a new insert coming for it. A new bearing totally coming from this one, although I could get an insert for it too. So anyway, I think those are taken care of. Now this one is this is the little roller that goes on, and this goes up tight against the main pulleys on the main system off the engine, and then this comes through this pulley here, and this is what drives the carriage drive back and forth. There's a pulley here on this side. So I've taken this one apart, and I've got a bearing in here, and I'm trying to get cross-reference for this bearing. This bearing shows as 5202, and a regular 5202 is a double row ball bearing, but it's not. This is like a wide gauge bearing, and the one that shows on there is like this one. It's a narrow one. So anyway, I've got to do some more research on that. And I did find some that are wide like this one, but they don't have a seal on them. Anyway, I've got to take all this stuff apart, and that's why I'm documenting this, is so that I can take this apart and figure out what the reference is on all this stuff. Like this is that drive pulley. I might have to build a new one of these because this one's pretty pitted. I might be able to take it, put it on the lathe and turn it down and smooth it up, but it's in pretty rough shape. And anyway, that goes on this bracket here, and then this pulley goes on it. And like I said, this bolts up onto the carriage. This rides against the belts on the backs of the belts, and then that turns through this, and this is what drives the whole carriage. So I've got that one referenced. We've got, this is the trip lever for the reverse trip lever, or the stop lever. It actually trips and stops the carriage from going backwards, and when it's done, when it comes back, then this bearing here rides up on a angle on the track and goes up and trips the lever to stop it from going backwards. So I want to document this as to how this is put together. We've got a bolt here, and that goes into the carriage, into the face of it to hold it on, and it pivots on, this pivots on it. And then we've got a pivot point here with a cotter pin in it and a pin in it, and that's on there. And then we've got this piece here, and that's not going to be able to come off. I was trying to get everything off apart so I could get it all sandblasted and cleaned up. And then we got a bearing down here. And it looks like this bearing down here is the same one as what we've used in all the other parts there. It's got a ring in it, for a groove in it for a snap ring. So that looks like that's the same bearing there. So that's one piece. And then this is another idler here. This another stabilizer here. This bolts up to the bottom of the carriage. Comes down off of it, and it's got this roller here that keeps everything from bouncing up and down. That one's got a different bearing in it. We'll have to take that off. So that bearing, I guess that's interchangeable. That could go either way. Okay, so that one's figured out. Then we got this. This is the speed controller. It controls the forward and reverse. I mean the speed that the carriage travels up and down the track. This is a handle for it. It's got a couple of pulleys here. The big pulley goes here. The bigger pulley goes here on this portion here where there's a T right there, or not a T, but an L bracket there. And then this small wide pulley. This is a wide flat bottom pulley. That must, the back of the belt must ride on that, and that goes on this extension, this dog leg extension here on that. So this got to come apart to find the bearings for that, and I suspect that's the same bearing. Yeah, I suspect that's the same bearing as these, and that's the roller bearings that the carriage rides on. And we've got this. This is actually the variable speed pulley, where this pulley comes in and out and adjusts its diameter, and that's what adjusts the speed going back and forth on the track. And that's got bearings in these legs right here. And I think those are the same bearings too as these. And then that's got a big pulley on this one. Big flat belt pulley here. Must be the back of the belt rides on here. This side has the fair lead on it for the cable that goes down for the lumber drag back, and the side here with the flat belt pulley on it doesn't have that on it. Now the last but not least is the whole main rigmarole here for the main drive system. This, of course, is the clutch. I forget what that clutch is called there, that drive dog engagement system there. That's how that goes on there. And then there's that's got a bearing in that mounts to the ground. And then there's probably a double bearing in here. more bearings in these pulleys here. And then another mount there. Both those mounts face the same direction. And we got more pulleys there. Okay. Anyway, I'm trying to document all this so that I can figure out how it all goes back together when I put it all back together, as well as finding all the different bearings and stuff on there. I want to document that. This little hydraulic cylinder here, that I got a new seal ordered for that. Oh, we got this piece here. That looks like the same bearings on that. Yeah, that's the same bearings on that. That's the drive gear. The chain hooks on this. This is what drives the carriage. And then we got these. These got bearings in them too. So we got to figure all that out, but not today.